evening, I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Welcome to Newsnight. Now, while it is true that we continue to hear disturbing stories of violence against women in the country every now and then, and one yearns for speedy justice in every case, today was an important day in this regard. Justice was delivered in the Kathua gang rape and murder case, a brutal assault on an 8-year-old girl that shook the collective consciousness of the nation. Justice was also pronounced in another gang rape case that took place in Dumka in Jharkhand. Meanwhile, amidst the continued political violence in West Bengal, Bengal Governor Kesharinath Tripathi apprised Prime Minister and Home Minister of the ground situation in the state. We will in the show today focus on the law and order situation in the eastern state. In other stories, iconic actor, playwright Girish Karnad is no more. We will take a look at his rich legacy. All that and more. Let's begin with the top stories at the hour. 6 of the 7 accused convicted by Pathankot court in Kathua gang rape and murder case. 3 convicts get life imprisonment. 8-year-old girl was raped and murdered in Jammu and Kashmir's Kathua. 11 convicted sentenced to life term in Dumka gang rape case. Court imposes fine of rupees 20,000 on each of the convicts. Court condemns the heinous crime, says it is an act against society, says a heinous act like this does not deserve any leniency. Amidst recent clashes, political climate heats up in West Bengal. Governor Kesharinath Tripathi meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah in Delhi and shares update on the ground situation in Bengal. BJP observes Black Day across the state. Centre sends advisory to Mamata government over law and order situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend SCO summit in Bishkek later this week. Will also have bilateral meets with Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan. Important issues like counter-terrorism likely to be discussed. Modi government gets cracking in its drive against corruption. 12 senior officers in the Income Tax Department holding rank of Chief Commissioners, Principal Commissioners and Commissioners of IT facing serious corruption charges retired compulsorily under existing rules. First such action involving so many senior officers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with all secretaries to the Government of India, says the Indian voter has outlined a vision for the next 5 years, calls it an opportunity for all, adds that huge expectations of the people should not be viewed as a challenge but an opportunity, urges each ministry to focus on ease of living. International Centre for Automotive Technology releases the first certificate for two-wheelers in the BS6 category in India. Important step forward for the government in the direction of controlling vehicular pollution. Veteran actor, playwright and Gyampit Award winner Girish Karnad passes away after prolonged illness in Bengaluru. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and INB Minister Prakash Javadekar condole his demise. And in sports, cricketer Yuvraj Singh announces his retirement from international cricket, says after 25 years in and around 22 yards, he has decided to move on, says he owes everything to cricket. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today interacted with all secretaries to the Government of India at Lok Kalyan Marg. Union Ministers Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, Nirmala Sitharaman and Dr. Jitendra Singh were also present on the occasion. Initiating the interaction, Cabinet Secretary P.K. Sinha recalled how Prime Minister had interacted directly with all officers up to Director, Deputy Secretary level in the previous tenure of the government. Looking forward, the Cabinet Secretary mentioned 2 important tasks which would be placed before the sectoral groups of secretaries. First, a 5-year plan document for each ministry with well-defined targets and milestones. And second, a significant impactful decision in each ministry for which approvals will be taken within 100 days. During the interaction, Prime Minister recalled his first such interaction with the secretaries in June 2014. He said that elections this time have been marked by a positive vote which emerges from trust that the common man feels. Prime Minister said that the Indian voter has outlined a vision for the next 5 years and this is now an opportunity before us. He said the huge expectations of people should not be viewed as a challenge, but instead an opportunity. Speaking of the demographic dividend, Prime Minister said it is essential that the demographics be utilized efficiently. Every department of the Union government in every district of each state has a role to play in making India a $5 trillion economy. Prime Minister said that India's progress in ease of doing business should reflect in greater facilitation for small businesses and entrepreneurs. He said each ministry of the government should focus on ease of living. PM said water, fisheries and animal husbandry will also be important areas for the government. Prime Minister added that all departments must seek to leverage the upcoming milestone of 75 years of independence, which can inspire people to make a contribution for the betterment of the nation. He urged everyone to hit the ground running to fulfill the aspirations of the people. Now, even as political clashes and violence continues unabated in West Bengal, Bengal Governor Kesharinath Tripathi today met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah in Delhi and apprised them of the law and order situation in the state. BJP accuses TMC of orchestrating the violence on Saturday in Bashirhat that claimed the lives of some BJP party workers. BJP also accused the Bengal police of acting in a biased manner under direction of the political bosses. Earlier, Centre had issued an advisory to the state government to control the situation. Mamata government has rebuffed the charges as political controversy.
Ongoing law and order crisis in West Bengal dominated the day in the state and in the national capital on Monday. BJP observed Black Day in West Bengal. Meanwhile, in Delhi, West Bengal Governor Kesharinath Tripathi met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah. These high-level meetings are considered crucial in the context of continued political violence in the state, even after the conclusion of Lok Sabha polls. Governor briefed Prime Minister and Home Minister about the ground situation in the state.
My visit to Prime Minister and Home Minister was in the nature of a courtesy call. As I told you earlier while I was departing from this place, that I could not extend my greetings on the day on which they were sworn in as the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. Therefore, I had sought time. Today the Prime Minister gave me time. I extended my good wishes to him. And so far as West Bengal is concerned, I gave a general description about the condition in Bengal. That is all. And same thing with the Home Minister.
Earlier, Home Ministry had issued an advisory to the state government expressing deep concern over the violence. The centre has in fact directed the state administration to maintain law and order. In response, Mamata Banerjee's government wrote a letter to the centre saying that everything is under control in West Bengal and all agencies are working fine, although the ground reality of West Bengal presents an entirely different picture. In view of deteriorating law and order situation and murder of its workers, Bharati Janata Party observed a black day in the state. The party called for 12-hour Bandh in Bashirhat division of North 24 Parganas. The party took out a number of protest rallies across the state. Clashes were reported between the protesters and the police. BJP leveled allegations against the TMC government of influencing the police forces.
सारे प्रदेश के अंदर ममता जी अराजकता की स्थिति कर रही है। टीएमसी के गुंडे बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ताओं घर में जाकर बम फेंक रहे हैं, चमका रहे हैं। कुल मिलाकर सारे प्रदेश में अराजकता है।
देखिए, पुलिस कुल मिला के टीएमसी की कैडर बन के काम कर रही है, जो कि गलत है और समय बहुत जल्दी परिवर्तन होता है, ये उनको भी जान लेना चाहिए और मुझे लगता है पुलिस को अपना काम करना चाहिए। देखिए, जो गुनहगार है आप उसको सजा दो, मैं भी उसके पक्ष में हूं, लेकिन जो बेकसूर है आप उसको जबरदस्ती थाने में पकड़ के नहीं डाल सकते।
On Saturday, a violent clash broke out between BJP and TMC workers in Sandesh Khali block of Bashirhat. BJP demanded immediate action against culprits responsible for killing its party workers. In the clashes, both the parties have claimed that their workers were killed. Extensive violence has been reported from West Bengal during the Lok Sabha elections also. Even after the polls, the violence continues unabated. Facing the heat over prevailing law and order crisis in West Bengal, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee called a meeting of all district magistrates and police chiefs to take stock of the situation. With Bureau Input, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And that brings us to the issue in focus this evening. Today in Newsnight, we are talking about political violence that continues in Bengal. And joining me in the studio is senior journalist R. Rajagopalan. Welcome, sir. Before we begin the conversation, I'll also like to introduce my colleague Anibrato, who's joining us from Kolkata, and I'll quickly get some update from Anibrato first. Anibrato, just take us through what was the day like in Bengal today, Bashirhat in particular, after the violence, the clashes on Saturday. A Black Day was observed by the BJP. What kind of a response did it get from the people, the masses in Bengal?
Yeah, Subhendu, mixed response was found because, after the gruesome murder that happened to take place the day before yesterday in Sandeshkhali, that is in Basirat subdivision, and BJP called 12 hours bond today that started 6 a.m. this morning and continued for 12 hours. And, train services were largely disrupted and road transport was disrupted. Shops and establishments closed in different pockets in Basirat subdivision, and RAP, monitored, made a patrolling in different areas, and tenuous situation was prevailing in different areas in Basirat. And not only this bond, BJP also observed Black Day today, and in Kolkata we found that large protest demonstration had taken place, and not only in Kolkata, in several parts of Bengal this thing happened too, but this thing went up peacefully today. No untoward incident happened to take place today.
Okay. And Anibrato, the call for speedy action against culprits who were responsible for the Saturday clashes and violence has been growing. Mamata Banerjee, Chief Minister, also held a meeting of the district administrators and police officers of the state. Any progress, any advisory given to them by the Chief Minister to act fast?
Yeah, Subhendu, Mamata Banerjee, Chief Minister of West Bengal, today held an administrative meeting at the State Secretariat Navanno, and thereafter, after the meeting, Mamata Banerjee said that this rumor mongering is happening to take place in different areas, and that is fomenting crisis. Mamata Banerjee said BJP, in connivance with the center, the government at the center, is maneuvering, hatching up, different strategies to destabilize our government. That is what she is saying. But the thing is that she also given a state directive to the police to act fervently, so that the culprits may be nabbed and proper action will be taken against them.
All right,
that is what she said.
Anibrato, please do continue to stay with us. We'll keep coming back to you for some more insights on what is going on and the law and order situation in West Bengal. I'll come to you, Rajagopalan sir. Now, violence in the run-up to the Lok Sabha elections, violence during the elections, and one would think that perhaps it would have ended with that, but violence continues in West Bengal. Is it becoming a new normal? We are aware of a tradition of political violence in West Bengal, but this is something that has never been seen before.
No, Madam Mamata Banerjee has been a major failure. She is unable to control the violence before the elections, after the elections, during the elections. You very rightly put it, Subhendu. But at the same time, my understanding is politically she has become orphaned. She is not becoming either opposition candidate for the presidential form of government or prime ministerial position before the election campaign, or after that it's a massive victory for Mr. Narendra Modi. Therefore, she is caught under the two different ideologies. My understanding, Madam Mamata Banerjee, the mercurial Chief Minister of West Bengal, is facing an existential crisis for the Trinamool Congress.
You're talking about existential crisis.
Of course,
that came out in Lok
it is a major setback for her, and she apprehends that the TMC will be wiped out totally in West Bengal in 2021 elections if this trend continues. Therefore, she wants to get a sympathy. She is inviting president's rule. She says, impose president's rules on me so that I get public sympathy. But the center, as an astute politician,
so you think this violence is directed at that it provokes the center to perhaps take an extreme step back?
She is intentionally provoking the center to invite a 356, because election commission has already given 324. You know it very well. You hail from the state, and I have been a close observer of Madam Mamata Banerjee. She is a very senior politician, no doubt, and she decimated the communists in West Bengal. We have to thank her. We have to be hats off to her political sagacity. But at the same time, she is also unable to swallow that BJP is rising in many parts of West Bengal because of its pro-minoritism anti-majoritarianism. That is the crux. What I understood after observing West Bengal politics more than 3 decades, this is the first time that Trinamool Congress is facing an existential crisis after the massive defeat of Trinamool Congress in many parts and giving room for BJP to raise its foothold there.
Right. So you mentioned that you've covered in your long journalistic experience, you've covered West Bengal politics for so long. How is it that to achieve any aim, violence seems to be the means, a favorite means by the ruling dispensation in the state? We've seen it in the Congress for decades. We've seen the left practice it, and Trinamool also seem to have inherited. Why is this culture of violence so prevalent in West Bengal, and why has it got so many takers, especially those who govern Bengal?
Because it was inculcated to them by the left parties. Left party started it.
But those opposing the left did not oppose
They are also unable to control it. They drew that lessons from West Bengal, from communists, and Trinamool Congress is also adopting that. But unfortunately, the BJP is also a victim of that, because when you have violence, you have to take that type of violent activities, because CPM West Bengal, Trinamool Congress West Bengal have been embedded with the type of violence. Therefore, there is no other option for BJP. They are not taking violence, I say, but at the same time, they have to adopt a peaceful. Today, Black Flag demonstration, Black Day they observed. So therefore, they are also going at the democratic way. But finally, Shubhendu, I tell you, constitutional crisis also slowly developing. You can't say Jai Shri Ram. It is my fundamental right. 19A provides me that. Article freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of landing a flight of Mr. Amit Shah.
Beyond violence, also there is a form of
there is a constitutional crisis developing. Before the election, she did not permit Amit Shah's aircraft to be landing or helicopter to be landing. She did not give permission for Prime Minister's rally. She apprehended.
We're talking about BJP right now, but leaders across party lines, they were in a way attacked or intimidated in the
Of course, they were really intimidated, and left parties, now zero left parties in West Bengal, but at the same time, left parties and Mamata Banerjee are squarely responsible for this violence. The reason being, you cannot speak, you cannot assemble, you cannot utter a word against her. What type of democratic institution West Bengal is now facing through? Tomorrow she has convened our district magistrate one. She will be facing immense problem from the district collectors, because at least from my understanding, 3 or 4 district collectors have told her, Madam, you cannot run this type of style of governance. I know that 2 district collectors have personally conveyed to me also. They cannot have this type of rule. You instigate violence at one time and encourage Trinamool Congress to beat up BJP workers. What type of governance she is undertaking?
So we'll also talk about if the administration, the police is empowered enough to take action. We'll come to that. Let me turn to Anibrato again. My colleague Anibrato is reporting from Kolkata in West Bengal. Anibrato, we're talking about the culture of violence that West Bengal has witnessed, not just now, but for decades. And we're trying to understand the reason for its prevalence. You're based in Calcutta and Bengal. You've covered the politics there at the ground level. Give us some insight as to how does the token of violence work in Bengal? Why are there so many takers, and what kind of a message, what kind of response does it get from the common man? It might be, for now at least in this case, clashes between the political workers of the parties, but for a common man, how do they survive in this atmosphere?
Yeah, Subhendu, as you know, this violence occupies the center stage, during election. That is old history in West Bengal that is repeated every time in election, we found. And only the watershed year is termed as the 2009, when there was no casualty because of the presence of the central force. We had talked with a large number of voters this time while we were covering election. So they basically avoid this violence, and this time they expressed their mind and said it's because of the central force they have got the favorable climate, so that they are casting their vote. So that is the mindset of the voters. but who cares of the voters, choice? Because political parties, they have their own choice, and they build up their, strength and dominance, and taking resort of this violent method. So this time, every time we find this thing happens to take place, and every election we find that this thing is repeated. And now, this time we found, while we covering the election, we found that a wave of secularization was there. In different pockets we found, but that was widely reflected in the result. BJP this time is surging, as a great force in Bengal. Spiraling rise we have found BJP, while dissemination of the Trinamool Congress has taken place, because earlier they had 34 seats, it receded to 22, while BJP has earlier 2 seats, it has now occupying 18 seats. So while BJP is gaining ground, they are penetrating into different pockets. Trinamool Congress is gradually losing ground, and at the same time it is happening to take place. Their party supporters are joining in BJP. And so this thing has created, because two of the dominant force now in Bengal, one is Trinamool Congress and BJP. Seesaw battle is happening to take place between them, and
Right, Anubhav, we get the political angle. Now, as a bandh was called by the BJP today in Bengal and Black Day, as you mentioned earlier, what kind of reaction did they get from other political parties on this issue? Because as we've been talking about that, no political party is really spared the ire of the Mamata government. In such a context, the left, the Congress, what was their response to the bandh called by the BJP and the killings that happened on Saturday?
Yeah, everyone is condemning the gruesome murder that happened to take place in the Sandesh Khali in Basirat subdivision, and all other opposition parties, starting from left and Congress, and they are virtually condemning Mamata Banerjee, because she is resorting this means to occupy her losing ground. So the thing is that Born today went up peacefully, no untoward incident happened to take place anywhere, and the Black Day was observed, different pockets. But the thing is that Mamata Banerjee, she is inviting ire from the different opposition parties, because they have not found any fundamental change with in the passage of time since he occupied, came to power in 2011 and thereafter. Because earlier we found that the frigid greed that was created in the left rule 34 years, Mamata Banerjee, dismantled that thing, and thereafter she came to power. Now with the dissemination of this Trinamool Congress and the vacuum that is being created, and volatile ground is now being raised in Bengal politics nowadays.
Okay, Anubhav, stay with us. Mr. Rajagopalan, I'll come to you again, and the subject that we were talking about, if the police and administration is even empowered to work efficiently, because in this case, not only have they failed to control violence, but the allegations by the victims' families, by the BJP, is that in fact they may be hand in gloves with those who are perpetrating violence. In such a situation, with what hope do the people of Bengal can look towards the police or the administration?
The net sufferers of people of West Bengal. With the culture of violence unleashed at them by Trinamool Congress, and they caught in that, in between that.
But there's simultaneous compromising of the institution, public institution.
Of course, it is denigrating, very bad, system in West Bengal. No one can control that. Even Mamata Banerjee failed to do that. 3 ways, if you see that, if you draw 3 dots.
You say Mamata Banerjee failed to control it. You think it's a situation that is not just orchestrated but also out of control from the hands of even the...
It is not orchestrated, she losing control. She has lost the control. The way in which the
allegations were that these are orchestrated TMC attacks.
There are allegations, but at the same time, a lady, Iron Lady, before she eliminated the CPM, why she has become very, small before everyone's eye now. The point is, Madam Mamata Banerjee lost her control. The confidence of the West Bengal voters, especially the majority voters, community voters, have no confidence in her. It's very clear understanding. For example, the unleashing of Jai Shri Ram postcards, lakhs and lakhs of postcards have gone. That irritated her.
Okay.
It was meant to irritate her only. You know, a lot of all over India, you get a letter and you get every day thousands of lakhs of letters like that. She gets irritated. And you know, the point is, she has lost the confidence of the voters. That is why the decimation of TMC in many areas. And if you convert that into assembly segments, my understanding is BJP internal calculation is that BJP on its own, if elections are held in next 2 or 3 months, BJP will form the government in West Bengal. That rattles Madam Mamata Banerjee.
That's a win or loss in elections is a natural process. There are parties that win, there are parties that lose. But to take a loss to such an extent that you resort to violence to get back at your political opponent, how disturbing a trend that is. And I'm also concerned about there is still time before the state elections take place, unless an extreme step like a precedence rule takes place. There's still time for the state election to happen. Is violence the manner in which the anxiety of having lost ground going to be expressed? I mean, that's a very disturbing trend in the times ahead as well.
The violence is a major disturbing trend. That is the reason why Governor Mr. Tripathi had briefed the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. And Mr. Keshavnath Tripathi is in control of certain things. That the letter which he has written, 48 instances he has given, that itself is rattling. The Governor's brief to the Prime Minister and the Home Minister are very shocking. It is against Mamata Banerjee. Therefore, she has to mend either.
And constitutionally, sir, how
Central not rush to implement the president's.
No, I understand that part. But the fact that a governor of a state, in some manner, has doubts over the working of the state government, goes to Delhi to speak to the Prime Minister, to speak to the Home Minister. How disturbing is this trend? Sending of an advisory by the centre to the state, although they've asked for, in simple terms, they've asked the state to maintain law and order. But this act of centre sending an advisory to the state to take care of what is their subject, how worrisome is this constitutional?
It's a warning signal to Madam Mamata Banerjee. You are on notice. That is the indication centre has given. If she is unable to cope up with that, tomorrow district collectors and district superintendent of police meeting, if it does not yield result by tomorrow evening, you can expect one more advisory, because centre is also building up a case. For example, a chief minister sitting in a dharna to protect one IPS officer. What a laughing stock the situation has come to. The bureaucracy in West Bengal was on its tall order. Especially IAS, IPS officers from West Bengal cadre have been tall figures. They are all celebrity bureaucrats. They have succumbed to the pressure of Mamata Banerjee, corruption charges, Sarda Narda scam. Especially Mr. Mukul Roy has enlisted at least some 20 to 25 points, which Mr. Mukul Roy today addressed a major event in West Bengal, and he has listed out many things. And especially Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, the Congress MP, is also alleging against Madam Mamata Banerjee. CPM leaders are also allegations are levelled against Mamata Banerjee. Therefore, from all quarters, Madam Mamata Banerjee is engulfed with some sort of fear, and she is coming out, unable to come out of that fear. That is why she is unleashing this violence and inviting a president's rule on her own, so that she is getting public sympathy and she can advance the elections. If it is given to her politically, she may advance the elections in 6 months.
Right, sir, and I understand when you say that this fear, anxiety of having lost a crucial political ground in the Lok Sabha elections is really motivating perhaps the ruling dispensation in West Bengal to resort to such extreme steps like clashes and violence. However, it's not just the political space that Trinamool Congress has lost. It is their own party cadre and leaders as well. We saw a large-scale movement of desertion of Trinamool and their movement towards the BJP. Does it also indicate that their own party leaders, many of their own party workers, their party members are not on the same page as far as the doctrine of violence is concerned?
Sukinto, two things have come out very openly. One, desertions, as you said. Can you believe a Prime Minister during election campaign meeting openly challenging Mamata Banerjee that your 40 MLAs are with me? Many of them are going to desert you. So similarly, it is also translated into action during the poll campaign and also by voting by pattern. What does voting pattern indicate? That indicates Mamata Banerjee is losing the ground, losing her grip, not only in the political spectrum, but also in the bureaucracy, but also in the police personnel. She is unable to control the violence. And the listing out of 48 important events in West Bengal for the last 6 months by Mr. Kesharnath Tripathi, the governor, to the Prime Minister indicate very clearly that Madam Mamata Banerjee lost her control.
Right, so let's go across to Kolkata once again, try and understand from Anibato what does it really mean to be a Trinamool worker on the ground. Anibato, in the clashes, the reports that came in, I'll request the producers to bring Anibato on the screen. Anibato, with the reports that came in of the clashes, there were some reports that a Trinamool worker was also killed. Now clearly violence when it takes place doesn't distinguish between who gets killed, who gets injured. What does it really mean to be a Trinamool worker? And we were talking about how there's been a large-scale desertion of Trinamool workers and leaders from the party, most of them to the BJP. What responses have you been gathering from people who've left the Trinamool and gone to the BJP? What values about the party did not work for them, and was violence one of the reasons why their connect with the masses and connect with the party got over?
Yeah, the basic issue, what is being raised nowadays, this, whoever is leaving Mamata Banerjee and joining his BJP, they are raising the issue that Mamata Banerjee, they are leaving Trinamool Congress because of the high-handedness of Trinamool Congress, Mamata Banerjee, Trinamool Congress chief Mamata Banerjee. And what we have found this time in Sandeshkhali, these cadres are taking, the law and order in their hands. Because of this thing that is widely reflected in the gruesome murder that had taken place there. One Trinamool worker was killed, and again 2 BJP workers were killed, because that was the internal clash between them, and that is again to occupy the lost ground of the Trinamool Congress. So vehemently they are trying, while BJP penetrating into the deep pockets, and Mamata Banerjee is losing ground. So this World War situation is happening to take place, and somehow or other they are resorting violence. That is widely reflected in everywhere, not only in Sandeshkhali but in other pockets of Bengal.
And vis-a-vis what has been put to question, Anibato, is also the role of the forces, the police forces. Sometimes the allegations are they're mute spectators, sometimes they're not present, there's not enough security for the people. On that front, if you can give us some update, what kind of allegation challenges is the police facing? And our guest in the studio was telling us that it is clearly not easy to also work under a high-handed leader for the police or the administration to discharge its duties efficiently. But what is it like in Bengal, if you can tell us?
Yeah, that is also equally reflected while we take into account of the work of the police force, because they are to work on this, dictation of what Mamata Banerjee is giving them to. Because if they fail to comply her order, immediately they get transferred from one area to other. So that is because what are the other means and ways left to them other than following the diction of what the Chief Minister is asking them to do.
Right. Okay. Anibato, do stay with us.
Police itself cannot, fulfill its neutrality.
We understand, Anibato. Raja Goparanji, if you talk about this token of violence, that if violence can help you achieve a certain end politically, if you can intimidate and win elections, intimidate people to vote for you. But we've also seen a clear example of how the masses, Indian citizens, do not get intimidated through violence. We've seen that in Kerala. There was large-scale violence by the ruling dispensation traditionally against the RSS and the BJP, and we saw that left really was wiped out from Kerala in the Lok Sabha elections. In West Bengal also we saw violence continued during Lok Sabha elections, and people did not go out and vote for the party that was known to have exercised violence. So is violence as a political token, political tool also losing its power, and should the TMC and all those who resort to such means be aware of that violence is not going to get them votes or seats or political mileage?
Subhendu, the electorates have rejected the violence during the poll, either ballot or bullet. That type of things have come to the stay. In West Bengal, and why only in Kerala? Why only in these two states? Because ideological war is taking place. The entire nation is voting for BJP, more than 50%. And why West Bengal? West Bengal also joined. First time they have got more MPs. Similarly in Kerala, in Kerala, the ideology is now transforming into a vote bank politics. What CPM and Congress have been doing earlier, going with the minorityism, now it is getting a majoritarianism. Therefore, things are ideologically, it's a clash now. And that clash brings out violence because Mamata Banerjee is unable to swallow the bitter pill. It coming out openly as a violent format. She instigates violence. Can you believe there are BJP workers who have been killed and the family members openly say the TMC cadre have been given police position and they are coming as a cadre, TMC workers as a policemen are coming and brutally attacking us. These are certain charge. One of the charges, even the governor received petitions from the public. So these are all certain things which is happening within West Bengal. Madam Mamata Banerjee, you are losing ground. Please administer West Bengal, let it be a free from violent state.
Okay, it's a worrying situation indeed, and we'll have to wait and watch if the state government, the administration can rise up to the occasion and control the disturbing, spiraling instances of violence there. R. Rajagopalanjay, thank you very much for joining us in the studio. Anibato, thanks very much for staying along with us and giving us those insights from Kolkata as well. Thanks to both of you for joining us for this conversation. Moving on, justice was delivered today in the inhuman gang rape, torture, murder of 8-year-old tribal girl in Kathua district of Jammu and Kashmir. After pronouncing 6 of the 7 accused in the case guilty of the crime, a special court in Pathankot gave life sentence to village head Sanjiram, Parvesh Kumar and Deepak Khajuria. 3 police officers were held guilty of destroying evidence in the case and they've also been sent to jail. Here's more.
3 men accused in the horrific gang rape and murder case of an 8-year-old girl in Jammu and Kashmir's Kathua have been sentenced to life imprisonment. Sanjiram, Deepak Khajuria and Parvesh Kumar have also been sentenced to 25 years in jail on gang rape charges. All the 3 have been fined ₹1 lakh each. Sanjiram, the caretaker of the temple where the crime took place, Special Police Officer Deepak Khajuria and Parvesh Kumar were convicted under Ranbir Penal Code sections pertaining to criminal conspiracy, murder, gang rape and destruction of evidence. Police officials Sub-Inspector Anand Datta and Head Constable Tilak Raj and Special Police Officer Surendra Verma have been sentenced to 5 years for destruction of evidence.
उसमें लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट सुनाई गई है 302 में तीनों को जो 3 जो मेजर में उसमें मैं बता रहा हूँ ठीक है 1 लाख रुपया फाइन और लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट इन 302 एंड 376D में इनको 25 साल की सुनाई गई है.
6 of the 7 accused were convicted by a court in Pathankot on Monday. The 7th accused, son of main accused Sanjiram, has been acquitted by the court. The police had filed the charge sheet against 8 accused, including a juvenile. According to a 15-page charge sheet filed in April last year by the crime branch of Jammu and Kashmir Police, the girl was kidnapped on January 10th that year and was allegedly raped in captivity in a small village temple after having been kept sedated for 4 days. She was later killed. The day-to-day trial commenced in the first week of June last year at the district and session courts in Pathankot in the neighbouring state of Punjab after the Supreme Court order on May 7, 2018. This was after lawyers in Kathua prevented crime branch officials from filing a charge sheet in the sensational case. The charge sheet said that the girl had gone missing while grazing horses. Investigators said that the accused juvenile had abducted the girl under the pretext of helping her find her horses. Bureau Report, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And in another case of sexual assault, 11 persons were sentenced to life behind the bars by a local court. The gang rape took place in September 2017 near Dighi village in Dumka district, Jharkhand. The 19-year-old survivor was attacked by the culprits when she was taking a walk with a friend.
A local court in Dumka sentenced 11 persons to life imprisonment for raping a 19-year-old woman in Dumka district of Jharkhand in 2017. District and Sessions Judge Pavan Kumar, who had convicted them on 7th June, also imposed varying fines totaling 2.97 lakh rupees on them.
एक घटना घटी थी, एक लड़की अपने बॉयफ्रेंड के साथ घूमने गई थी उस दरमियान कुछ बदमाश लड़के लोग उनको पकड़ लिए और उनके साथ सामूहिक दुष्कर्म किए। उसी में यह फैसला आया है जिसमें आजीवन कारावास की सजा दी गई।
According to the FIR lodged at Mufassil police station in Dumka, the convicts had first demanded money and a mobile phone from the woman as penalty. Later, all of them raped her near Dighi village on 6th September 2017. The girl and her male friend were returning after taking a stroll near Sidho Kanhu Murmu University campus at Dighi when they encountered the men at the crossing of Ring Road and Dighi Road. 2 days later, 16 suspects were arrested and 11 of the 16 were convicted and sentenced after a speedy trial. With inputs from Divakar in Ranchi, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
So some balm of justice in the horrific sexual assault cases. Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold bilateral talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO summit in Kyrgyzstan this week. The MEA reiterated that no meeting has been scheduled between PM Modi and his Pakistani counterpart Imran Khan at the SCO summit. Prime Minister Modi had attended the previous SCO summit meeting in Qingdao, China last year. Important issues like counter-terrorism, connectivity are likely to be discussed at the forthcoming summit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Kyrgyzstan's capital Bishkek on the 13th and 14th of June to take part in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. A wide range of regional and global issues will be taken up for discussion with special focus on security, trade and investment as well as countering terrorism. Also known as the Heads of State Council, the summit is the first major multilateral engagement Prime Minister Modi is undertaking after being put back in office with a resounding mandate by the country's voters. This is the second SCO summit after India became a full-time member. Prime Minister Modi had also taken part in last year's summit meet held in China's Qingdao.
Typically the summit settings are meant to discuss the global security situation, multilateral economic cooperation, people-to-people exchanges and other topical issues.
The PM will also be meeting Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russia's President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the SCO summit.
We're happy to confirm bilateral meetings with Russia and China as taking place on the margins of the SCO summit. And there will be, and there are other requests also. These tend to be processed, taking into account the limited time available.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan will also be participating in the summit, but the MEA has reiterated that no meeting has been fixed between him and Prime Minister Modi on the sidelines of the summit.
There is no meeting which is being organized between Prime Minister and Prime Minister of Pakistan Imran Khan. I think there is nothing more which I can add or we can add at this stage.
Formed in 2001, the SCO is an 8-member Eurasian political, economic and security grouping. It represents 42% of the world's population and 20% of the world's GDP. China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan are its founding members. India and Pakistan became full-time members at the Astana summit in 2017. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Former Civil Aviation Minister and NCP leader Praful Patel on Monday appeared before the ED Enforcement Directorate in connection with a money laundering probe related to losses suffered by Air India as part of an alleged multi-crore aviation scam. Patel appeared before the agency around 10:30 a.m. on Monday morning. The case emerges from a criminal complaint registered by the Enforcement Directorate for alleged irregularities in fixing air slots for international airlines that purportedly led to losses for Air India. Patel has also been named in the recent charge sheet filed by the federal agency before a court as a person known to alleged aviation lobbyist Deepak Talwar, arrested by the ED some time back. The NCP leader, who was in charge of the Civil Aviation Ministry between 2004 and 2011, has not been mentioned as an accused in the case. The EG charge sheet in the case named Talwar and claimed that he was in regular touch with Patel. It has been alleged that Talwar finalized various communications addressed to Patel on behalf of Emirates and Air Arabia. Talwar obtained undue favors for the private airlines using his contacts. The agency has also alleged that Talwar was engaged in lobbying with politicians, ministers, public servants, officials in the Civil Aviation Ministry. Some update on the weather front. The mercury shattered all records in Delhi, with parts of national capital recording an all-time high of 48 degrees Celsius on Monday. The city's previous high of 47.8 degrees Celsius was recorded in Palam on June 9, 2014. The Palam Observatory recorded an all-time high of 48 degrees Celsius on Monday. According to the Indian Met Department, the factors that led to this are dry westerly winds, no effect of the western disturbance in the plains, and intense heating in the month of June. The Safdarjung Observatory, which provides official figures for the city, recorded a high of 45.6 degrees Celsius. In large areas, a heat wave is declared when the mercury touches the 45-degree mark for 2 consecutive days, and a severe heat wave when the temperature soars to 47 degrees Celsius or above for 2 days on the trot. In smaller areas like the national capital, heat wave is declared if the maximum temperature is recorded at 45 degrees Celsius even for a day. International Centre for Automotive Technology released the first type approval certificate for two-wheelers in BS6 category for India. The director of the organisation, Dinesh Tyagi, handed over the certificate to top officials of the Hero Motorcore Limited for its BS6 compliant model, Hero Splendor, and this is India's first certification in the two-wheeler segment for BS6 norms, given the latest emission norms by the government in order to curb the menace of growing air pollution, vehicular pollution through the emissions.
A major decision taken with the aim to curb the ever-deteriorating problem of air pollution took a decisive step to fruition on Monday. ICAT released India's first approval certificate for BS6 norms in the two-wheeler segment. India had in 2016 decided to directly implement BS6 norms for vehicular emissions after BS4, bypassing the BS5 stage with effect from April 2020. It simply means that from 1st April 2020, only those vehicles will be sold and registered in India which comply to BS6 norms. BS is Bharat stage emission norms for vehicles being operated on Indian roads, which are considered the benchmarks in regulating pollutants a vehicle emits. BS6 is a stricter and more restrictive norm that will give a jump start to India's long battle with air pollution.
BS6 के अंदर जो BS4 की तुलना में नॉक्स के जो लिमिट्स हैं वो करीब 85% टाइट किए गए और जो कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड के लिमिट्स हैं वो करीब 28 से 50% टाइट किए गए हैं। तो ये शुरुआत हुई है, जैसे कि हमारा पहला टू व्हीलर का सर्टिफिकेशन है, अब लाइन लगेगी इसके बाद।
Though the technology shift will mean rise in cost of vehicles and also affect the mileage, the benefit far outweigh the costs. The amount of nitrogen oxide and other particulate matter it will curb will definitely help enhance air quality and beat health risks of alarming air pollution.
BS6 fuel ऑलरेडी NCR में 1 साल से अवेलेबल है सिलेक्ट आउटलेट्स पे एंड ऑल दी जितनी भी रिफाइनरीज हैं उनके यहाँ पे BS6 की फ्यूल की तैयारी ऑलरेडी हो चुकी है। जब कंट्री ने ये डिसीजन लिया है कि हमें BS6 करना है तो अगर इंजन BS6 है तो उसका कंप्लाइंट फ्यूल भी गवर्नमेंट ने इंश्योर किया है कि अवेलेबल होगा।
India has once again proved that when it comes to take decisive steps to tackle air pollution and climate change, its action complement the promises made.
Air pollution is one of the biggest threats the world faces today, and polluted air also raises several health concerns. When BS6 compliant vehicles will start plying on the roads, will start hitting the roads, it will definitely prove to be a game changer for air pollution control and regulation as well. With camera person Yogesh, Meghna Dev, DD News, New Delhi.
In another surgical strike on corruption and other misdemeanors being committed by those in high offices, the Modi government has compulsorily retired 12 senior income tax department officials of the ranks of Chief Commissioner, Principal Commissioners and Commissioner of Income Tax Department under the Rule 56J. This gives the power to the government to retire a certain category of government servants ahead of time in public interest. This is the first time that such a large number of IRS and other officials have been compulsorily retired in one go. And the axe has fallen on the following: Joint IT Commissioner, IRS 1985 batch, Ashok Agarwal; Commissioner Appeal, Noida, IRS 1989 batch, S.K. Srivastav; and next 1985 IRS batch, Home Rajvansh. Number 4, BB Rajendra Prasad, besides CIT Ajay Kumar Singh, CIT B. Arupalla, Alok Kumar Mitra, Chandra Sainu Bharati, Andasu Ravinder, Vivek Batra, CIT Shwetab Suman and Ram Kumar Bhargava. Veteran actor and playwright Girish Karnad is no more. He breathed his last this morning in Bengaluru. 81-year-old actor who was being treated for prolonged illness. A respected actor in Hindi cinema, an icon of Kannada literature. His plays written in Kannada have been translated into English and several other languages and have been a popular subject of both academic study and performance. He has left a lasting imprint on diverse mediums such as stage, television and cinema and literature, and has left a void that will be hard to fill.
Noted playwright, actor and director Girish Karnad passed away Monday morning at his residence. He was 81 years old. Karnad had been ailing for some time. A multifaceted personality, Karnad acted in several plays and movies that have received critical acclaim. He is a recipient of Gyanpith Award. He was also conferred the Padma Shri in 1974 and the Padma Bhushan in 1992. He was also a Rhodes Scholar from Oxford University in the 1960s that earned him the Master of Arts degree in Philosophy, Political Science and Economics. His plays written in Kannada have been translated into English and several Indian languages. Karnad's career spanned decades, during which he composed many plays, often using mythology and history to bring attention to contemporary issues. He began his cinema career in 1970 and went on to act in the classic television show Malgudi Days. He was last seen in Bollywood in Salman Khan's starrer Tiger Zinda Hai. President Ramnath Kovind extended condolences on Karnad's demise. In a tweet he said, I quote, "Sad to hear of the passing of Girish Karnad, writer, actor and doyen of Indian theatre. Our cultural world is poorer today. My condolences to his family and to the many who followed his work." Unquote. Prime Minister Modi also condoled Karnad's demise. He said, I quote, "Girish Karnad will be remembered for his versatile acting across all mediums. He also spoke passionately on causes dear to him. His works will continue being popular in the years to come. Saddened by his demise, may his soul rest in peace." Unquote. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has said, I quote, "Saddened by the passing away of the Indian film artist Girish Karnad. My condolences to his family members and fans." Unquote. Film and Television Institute of India also deeply mourned the passing away of the institute's former director and chairman Girish Karnad. He was the only FTIR director who went on to serve as a chairman too, as director for 2 years, 1st January 1974 to 31st December 1975, and as the chairman for 30 months, 16th February 1999 to 10th October 2001. Karnataka government declared holiday on Monday as a mark of respect to Girish Karnad, and 3-day state mourning has also been declared. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Some news now from India's neighborhood. Pakistan's former president Asif Ali Zardari was arrested on Monday from his residence in Islamabad in fake bank accounts case by the Pakistan's top anti-corruption body, National Accountability Bureau. The team from there, accompanied by police including female officials, entered the PPP co-chairman's house in F8 sector after Islamabad High Court rejected an application seeking extension in the pre-arrest bails of Zardari and his sister Faryal Thalpur in the case. This case pertains to the use of alleged fake bank accounts to keep money and transferring it out of Pakistan. According to NAB officials, the duo made transactions around ₹150 million through alleged fake bank accounts. The cases against Zardari are part of the investigations being conducted by NAB in pursuance of the Supreme Court of Pakistan's verdict in the money laundering of billions through fake accounts. And time for some sports updates. One of the finest cricketers to have played white ball cricket, Yuvraj Singh, has announced his retirement from international cricket. Overall, Yuvraj Singh played 40 tests, 304 one-day international, 58 T20 internationals for India from 2003 to 2017. In 2007, Yuvraj Singh showed his big tournament mentality when he hit Stuart Broad for 6 sixes in Durban during the first ever World T20. Yuvraj Singh was at his best in 2011 World Cup, 362 runs during the tournament, 15 wickets, 4 Man of the Match awards, the Player of the Tournament award as well. Yuvraj Singh would forever be remembered for his scintillating performance in India's second World Cup triumph at home.
Two-time World Cup champion and one of India's greatest ever limited overs batsman, Yuvraj Singh has called time on an illustrious 19-year-long career. The 37-year-old finished with a total of 402 international caps to his name, with his role in one-day internationals for India definitely being the standout. One of the cleanest hitters of the ball the game has seen, Yuvraj played 40 tests, 304 ODIs and 58 T20 internationals.
And in around 22 years and almost 17 years of international cricket on and off, I have decided to move on. Thank you for taking the time out to be here and to support me.
Well, that's a glorious shot.
He started his career back in 2000 as an 18-year-old and showed glimpses of his abilities in just the second ODI when he shredded an Australian bowling attack to pieces in the 2000 Champions Trophy in Kenya. He soon became a linchpin of the Indian middle order, often taking his side to memorable wins, like in the famous NatWest Trophy final in 2002, which in some ways changed the landscape of Indian cricket. Yuvraj still holds the record for the fastest 50 in a T20, a feat he managed off 12 balls in the 2007 T20 World Cup against England. This was the same match where he slammed Stuart Broad for 6 sixes in an over. His 30-ball 70 in the semi-final against Australia was instrumental in helping India reach the final and eventually lift the inaugural World T20 title. Yuvraj's biggest and most important contribution though came at the 2011 50-over World Cup when India lifted the title for the first time in 28 years. Despite not being 100%, the Southpaw was India's cornerstone all through the tournament, both with the bat and ball, and was named Player of the Tournament for his efforts. He stroked 362 runs in the campaign in 9 games at an average of 90.5, which included 4 50s and a century. He also returned 15 wickets with the ball at 25.13. But poor fitness and form led to his ouster in early 2013, and he has since been in and out of the team. Despite that, he continued to be a hot pick in the IPL, raking in millions. The all-rounder reportedly is now thinking about pursuing a freelance career in foreign T20 leagues and has a few offers up his sleeve.
Yes.
Sports Desk, DD News.
Last ball of the innings. And he's put it away. Oh, has he? Yes, into the crowd. 6 sixes in an over.
Will also be remembered for his fight against cancer and the remarkable comeback that he made. End of an era of sorts for Yuvraj fans, really. And with that, we conclude the show. Good night.